Hello, everyone, and welcome to VOD of Consciousness with Sientir. I am Sientir, and you can support me on my Patreon at patreon.com/Sientir. Okay, so more relevant, we are trying to complete our Villainy of Galrath. So we need to seek out Galrath of the Wizard's Tower in Keswick's Peak and put an end to his villainy, which means kill him. Bunch of peacekeepers around here. We want to really make sure we're going after the divine ones because they're obnoxious. Fortunately, we have giant piles of spirits that really help speed up some of the making them less around process. But we are going to finish the Villainy of Galrath today, I hope, as long as I don't take any other enormously wrong turns that waylay us for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever. Bunch of peacekeeper dudes around here. As you can see, this is another one of the sort of micro zones. This is something that happens a lot in this game, where there's, like, the Cursed Lands is a super small area leading over towards whatever, Essex Peak or whatever is next. And there's just a bunch of different instances of that sort of thing happening. For some reason, all these level 20 lynxes are fighting the peacekeepers, and I'm not really sure what's up with that. That's pretty atypical. But, you know, I'll take it happening. We want this person to stop, because they're taking away the corpses that we want for our own minions. I want to back up, so I'm not taking damage from them. I'm okay with my spirits tanking, but I don't need to tank with my face. Excuse me. Found myself some hiccups. Hiccups are a weird phenomenon, aren't they? It's just one of those things, it's like, why does this happen? I don't know, it just does. Hopefully we don't run into too many peacekeepers on our way of dealing with Galrath, but I guess we'll find out. You can kind of think of this actually as kind of like the supply crate engineer skill, only it has a 30-second recharge. Yeah. It is a ridiculously strong skill. I don't know. I've just been thinking a lot about Guild Wars 2. I want to give that game another try to see how things have changed with the years. Because there's so much that I love about it. It's just, I was thinking about this, and I've talked about this elsewhere. For people who probably don't have the $5 tier on my Patreon, where I just talk about random stuff going on with my day. But I was doing some thinking and analyzing with regards to Guild Wars 2, and a lot of my issues with Guild Wars 2 have generally been that the game kind of, from a combat standpoint, sits in a weird spot, where it's too actiony without being action gamey enough. So, like, for example, I really enjoy the Middle-earth Shadow of series. I want to try recording some of them at some point in time, but I'm concerned about how much my computer can handle recording while also playing those games, because they're notably more intensive than what this does for my computer. This I have like at maximum graphic settings, and I'm getting 120 frames per second, which I usually get about 45 on Shadow of War, which is sufficient for me. I'm not one of those 60 FPS or bust kind of people, but what is all with all these wild lynxes? This is bizarre. But anyway, I like the action of those, like Dark Souls or that game, and I'm fine with. I mean, those are basically just DPS type things, right? But you have a lot of stuff going on with it that I don't know. I find them very engaging. Let's give this Bone Fiend a splinter weapon. Why not? It sounds silly. And I really like sort of the strategicness, and this is like almost a real-time tactics game to some extent, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. Whereas something like Guild Wars 2, and this is my past experience. I have not played it in a while. I booted it up the other day, but I didn't do anything. Talked to some NPCs. But that game is not the same sort of tactics game that this is. Okay, so we need to go through the Black Curtain, and then we can get to Kazakh's Peak. It's been a long time since I've been through this area, so I couldn't remember the geography. But as you can see, this is a... just to stop for a moment before I go through, this is a really short, small little zone. I guess that kind of just exists between Nebo Terrace and the Black Curtain. But what ends up happening to me is I feel like everything's kind of really mushy and the same. Part of that is the consolidation of the boon system, the boon and condition system, where you don't get unique things like Splinter Weapon. Or there's more extreme examples if you look at what monks get with like Reversal of Fortune and Shield of Absorption and stuff like that. And sort of the result of this is that it reduces some of the individuality, especially some of the feel of it. Like there's conditions in this game, but there's also hexes. So there's a couple of... Wow, we got 3 Shining Blade recruits. One of the things that they do, I think that the Shining Blade recruits is a good idea because these are smaller zones. So they have 6 people. Now, one of the things that's a problem is I probably have not brought enough healers realistically for what this zone actually wants of us, which is a bit of an oversight on my part. Talcor's keeping up okay, and thankfully I gave Daedalon Patient Spirit, and Elias has Empathic Removal. And technically Milani does some healing as well with the Avatar of Dwayna when her Dervish enchantments ends. But it's a lot of incidental healing and not a lot of like the strong direct heals that push people up. So Empathic Removal's not... it's more of a cleansing skill. But anyway, I don't know. Like, there's just a lot more nuance to what's going on in this game, I feel, to some extent, and the pacing of everything is different. I feel like it's interesting to see these guys fighting the undead, incidentally. But I feel like a lot of the skills in Guild Wars 2 are various forms of how can I DPS more, which is kind of what the game's about, right? It's kind of a massively multiplayer solo experience where everybody's kind of playing some variant on does a little bit of everything, which is fine. That's fundamentally what something like Dark Souls or Shadow of games are, right? Everybody does a little bit of something in those. You have self-heals, Estus, or... I mean, you can build a little bit more that way with... okay, my spirits are doing fine over there. You can go a little bit deeper in that with something like the Healing Miracles. But fundamentally, what you run into in those games is you do a little bit of everything. Like in Shadow of Mordor, branding enemies can heal you, stuff like that. But like that's an interactive heal, right? I mean, Estus isn't, and the other things aren't. So like there's some variance to some of that. But what I'm saying is you do have a little bit of everything, and that's kind of what they were going for to some extent with Guild Wars 2. But there's just a certain amount of... oh yeah, that's right. This place is just like a super swampy area. We're definitely not going to explore all of this zone. That's for sure. I think... Do we want to go down that way, or... whatever. We're going to take care of Karnak the Hungry and crew. That's the first thing we're going to do. Need to take down this Divine Peacekeeper too while we're at it. But kind of what my point is, and where I'm getting with this, is that I really want to feel like when I play such and such a character that it really has some serious difference in play. And the systems like, they've tried. They have really tried. I should add. I commend them on that. But I just fundamentally feel like the systems are not set up enough to create enough difference in how things actually work. I think this goes around based upon the map. I might need to actually go around over there, though. I don't remember. It's been a really long time. But we're just going to go through these fog nightmares. They're not a huge deal. This poison swamp is a bigger deal. But anyway, what I was trying to get to, and keep derailing myself from, is that for Guild Wars 2, at least a lot of my experience with it, and again, I need to try things more recently to see if they've done stuff with it, is that it's a little too RPG and not enough action for my taste, for what I'd want from the game. And the problem that I have with that is, man, these guys are like PB AoE bombers. But anyway, as I was saying, okay, I don't need the shadowy remains. The problem that I have with that setup, I guess, is this guy's just like, okay, well, whatever, dealt with. That guy's dealt with is what that guy is. What I have is a problem, is that I kind of feel like in some ways everything kind of works the same way. And again, that would be fine if I felt that the combat was super engaging, like it is in Dark Souls or Shadow of War or whatever. But it's just kind of in this spot that just doesn't grip me. It's not quite visceral enough. It's not quite tense enough. It's not quite stressful enough to really grab me. And that's fine. Like, I think it's for some people. It's just not for me. Or at least it hasn't been. And there's so much that I love about the game. But, I don't know. I really like the... Yeah, it would have been better. Just follow the path. I really like the way that this particular game works. Where there's... it's a much faster-paced game. That's one of the problems that I've had. And I don't know if it's changed or not. But Dark Souls 2 has traditionally been a very slow-paced game. Which might seem kind of odd, but skill recharge differences and the way that they feel is a significant thing to notice. I certainly have. So, anyway, I'm willing to give Guild Wars 2 another try and see how things feel now. I wish I could pick up all this loot, but I am... Okay, I don't need that. Sorry, I'm evaluating how good the loot is. And I probably shouldn't do that while standing in a poison swamp. But yeah, I just felt like all of the professions, like all of the differences and everything felt very superficial. And that, yeah, okay, you're doing your DPS in a slightly different way, but fundamentally, I'm pushing the same set of buttons. And I think that's part of what it comes down to, is because the controls and the skill bar and everything is super unified, that it leads to that sensation. I'm just thinking out loud some more, and probably 4 more people are a little bit more interested in it, but it's a problem for me because that unified feel means that I don't quite get the variety. So, like, in this game, there are a bunch of different roles, and, for example, what you're trying to do varies. I'm, using a combination of spells and melee attacks and stuff, or ranged attacks, but whatever, physical attacks is kind of what I meant. And that means that this character plays a little bit differently, and there's a lot of positional awareness stuff. It's not that that stuff doesn't exist, but it's like there's a certain deliberateness to the pace of play in this game, that there's a freneticness to Guild Wars 2 that's like different, but I don't know, it's just hard for me to explain. It's one of those things where you almost have to experience the differences yourself. But there's a lot, I feel like there's a lot more nuance to roles, and people are trying to fulfill more specialized roles, and that creates more difference and variety in play. Do I have Temple of Ages on this character? I think I'm near the Temple of Ages. I don't have it on this character. Sorry, I'm just suddenly being reminded of something, and it would actually be super worthwhile to stop by Temple of Ages. 1 second, I need to look up where it's at, because I think it's north of here. The Temple of the Ages. Okay, it's just Temple of the Ages, whatever. Yeah, okay, it is in this zone, so I should actually stop by there. This is awkward, but... Oh, I'm so close to Kazakh's Peak. But I just need to head north. So I'm just going to follow the path kind of north. This is a bit of a detour, but while I'm out here, it is so worth stopping by the Temple of the Ages. Like, it would almost be a waste of the trip to not stop by there. The other thing about stopping by the Temple of the Ages that's really, really, really valuable is it's an 8-man town. So I can actually get, like, the full team. And I think I might basically add a monk and a second ritualist. And probably set the ritualist up with communing. I think I want to go this way to get there. This is probably going to be a super duper long episode, but we're at 16 minutes right now, according to my timer. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like the focus is just different, and there's a level of cohesion that this game has that I don't feel from Guild Wars 2. And sort of the rate at which I'm trying to do stuff and sort of what that stuff means and the way that stuff fits together feels more intricate somehow. My mouse is kind of awkwardly positioned. It's kind of far away from me. I should try to do something about sort of some of the physics of how everything's arranged right now. Yeah, we can have a bunch of minions going over there. There's a random Mesmer boss. Does this get me where I'm trying to go? Oh, maybe I need to go up this way. It's been a real long time since I've journeyed through some of these areas, FYI. Hey, a purple cleaver. The other advantage is being able to empty my inventory is good times. I'm going to drop this for a purple. And I'm going to start IDing some stuff. Okay, I'm going to ID exactly this. I guess I can pick up this hammer. It's going to be worth more than that seed is, trust me. And I think the temple should be over that way. But I think it's worth stopping there and picking up more dudes. It just was super unplanned. And you know what? This will be a 40-minute episode, and everybody can enjoy it. Let me know if you prefer longer episodes. It obviously takes more time on my end, but it's not like it's that terrible of a thing. It does mean that I definitely will focus more on like gameplay related commentary. I mean, I'm doing that a lot as it is, so whatever. I don't know if it matters. What I'm thinking is, I don't know how many abnormal seasons. I'm thinking, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, what I'm thinking is I'm gonna add on my ritualist, but make him communing in restoration rather than signet of spirits. We've got a bunch of peacekeepers in Greaves the Overbearing and a brother Mizar. You cannot pass. This land is protected by Crichton law, even from the White Mantle. This is just a sacred site. I am the Crichton law. Obviously, there's a lot of pop culture references. And it says he knows that we're hiding spies within our temple. And he's trying to keep out heathens. So one of the things is there's a religious war going on here between the White Mantle, who believe in the unseen gods, or the unseen ones, founded by Saul D'Alessio, and the 5 or 6 gods. It was 5 gods and then it became 6. That the humans have traditionally believed in. And that has kind of meant okay, that cleared stuff out. Let's see. So he's threatening to come back. But yeah, so there's a bit of a religious war. The unseen ones turn out to be the Mersat. Spoilers. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I'm just going to go into the Temple of the Ages. You find Salma here. I think she was an NPC all along. But she ends up being... yeah, they changed her model. She used to just have a normal Crichton model, but now she has the same armor costume thing that we're wearing. And then there's just a bunch of statues of the gods. So statue to Balthazar, statue to Grenth, Melandru, Lissa, and Dwayna. None of them are working out too well right now because we don't have favor, but I don't know what the brother Mizar's quest is about. I don't care about any of that. Okay. This is a place where you can get to the underworld and the Fissure of Woe, provided you have this favor and a K lying around. But, you know. Or platinum, if you want to call it that. Let's dump that and buy an ID kit. Let's see, I already checked is the wrong word, but my inventory is getting super crunched. Interesting. Ebon axe. Ebon is not a bad upgrade for an axe, incidentally. And the reason for that is it works really well with a dervish. Oh, right. Inventory's full. This recurve bow. That recurve bow I want to hang on to. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that one for a moment. This was highly salvageable. A bunch of wooden planks. Do I have an ebon axe lying around? And do all of my characters that would care already have? That's a hammer. Oh, that's already ebon, so that's a max sundering, which is probably fine to hang on to, but a bit boring. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sell that. The faux hammer didn't show up because rearranging your inventory tends to not work out too well in that regard. Air magic +2 and +10 armor versus earth damage. I'm gonna already call that it's not worth anything. Okay, so now what I can do is I can add 2 more party members. So I'm gonna add another monk, and I'm gonna add Brias. So there's a couple of things that I want to do. The first one is I actually want to go over here and get rid of Patient Spirit because it's frankly not amazing on this character, and I think adding in something like Complicate is probably better. Elias is doing fine stuff, although Deathly Swarm is not what I want Elias to be doing, so I'm gonna throw on Putrid Bile, I guess? That's probably good. What she's doing is fine. Milani is probably fine. Donkoro is fine, but Prius I want to change from channeling magic to communing. Which is going to lose the overlap with me. And that's fine. That's why I'm changing him, actually. I want Shadow Song, Pain. Let's... Spirits you control within your shadow attack. Plus damage. Go with Wanderlust. Could go with Preservation. Let's... Let's see. Your original says by 3. Cast a weapon spell on ally, you gain some energy. Every spirits die, you get a bunch of energy on it. Your binding rituals recharged if a spirit died in this way. Let's see. I'm just trying to think through what I want to do with them, so this might take a little bit of a moment. So I want to try to stick to stuff that has 30-second recharges or less, just from a mobility standpoint. Let's see. Probably fine. This is the interrupting one, which is super expensive because the effect is super strong. What a shock. I might go with Zinre's weapon. Or... Let's see. Phrase seconds the next time target ally takes damage. That damage is limited 5% deals health. Healing regen. Well, that's pretty strong, but not necessarily what we're trying to do here. Preservation. Preservation is just so random. But we'll go with Preservation because it sounds like fun. How's that for no good reason? And then I think that this character is going to want Boon of Creation. This gives you energy when you make spirits. And this is kind of energy intensive build, I feel. That's kind of there's a bunch of like really cool healing skills under this or in this stuff, by the way. But oh, this is really interesting. Okay, so that's probably enough looking around at that. I've cleaned out my inventory, so we're going to continue on our way to Galrath. And hopefully things work out okay energy-wise. Do I still want to be doing Essence Strike? I think I do. But Painful Bond has a strong argument for it with this many spirits, so I think I'm strongly considering it over Splinter Weapon. I think I'm going to bring Painful Bond instead of Splinter Weapon. Again, it's a little bit easier for me to work with. I don't care about this thing. Hi, Shadow. Shadow has a pet spider named Carlotta. I'm gonna go around this way. In part, I'm going this way to get more of my map cleared up. Not any particular reason other than that. And Oh, we're almost at half an hour, folks. I named Sir Robert over here. We'll just go down that way. But one of the things is bringing Prius, Men, Body, and Soul removes a bunch of conditions. And Painful Bond just makes things take more damage when they're hit by spirits. So being hit for 18 additional damage when hit by spirit when we're basically like turret central seems really good. And this is what I'm talking about by like synergies, where what I'm doing is specifically synergizing with that. And there's a lot of field stuff that Wooden Potatoes has been talking about in his Let's Play that has been teaching me about some of the synergy systems built into the sequel, Guild Wars 2, that are a little opaque, in my opinion. Certainly powerful, but I don't know. I'm just not super enthused about a lot of the stuff that's being done. Okay. So we cleared that pile of dudes out. This will be a lot easier to get through with a full party, incidentally. So I don't mind taking that detour. It acquires a very useful outpost and very useful additional set of support structure stuff. So. And it'll be handy to have that outpost in the future because I think there's a lot of other stuff that's going to take place there. Aha, cure hacks, eh? Okay, what's going on over here? Okay, Firebrand. Yeah, we have a lot of spirit support, too. Huh, I'm not sure what this Tree of Judgment does, but I also don't need to fight it, so I'm not going to bother. Actually, this is probably a really easy boss to kill, so we should kill it for the morale boost. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know if that thing had anything. It was shockingly high level. But giving everybody a morale boost seems like a valuable thing to do there. So I'm actually going to go kind of this way to where I'm making sure I'm going through the path. And this is going to take me into the middle of a bunch of reed stalkers, but whatever. Oh man, they're just... Look at all of those damage numbers pop up from spirits wailing on those plants. Yep, we're all poisoned. But the thing is, this time we have 2 monks instead of 1. So that's going to help a lot with stuff, I think. Man, Signal of Spirits is absolutely ridiculous. I'm actually having a lot of fun using it, though. Ooh, 20 wood planks. That's fun. And this abnormal seed. I should probably salvage the abnormal seed. I bet you it salvages into plant fiber. It salvages into plant fibers, which is a valuable source of plant fibers. Okay, now continuing on past these peacekeepers. Well, through these peacekeepers is probably a more accurate description of what's about to happen. Sounded like an enemy dying over there. I don't even know what's going on. Apparently you can be inside this tree or something. I've not figured it out. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of forest minotaurs. Are there any minotaurs in Kryta in Guild Wars 2? This is an interesting question. We're heading towards Keswick's Peak. I think a bunch of this area became part of the Dominion of Wind, but I'm not sure. It's just interesting to think about, like, what sort of things happened in the intervening set of years. What did they decide would make sense? You know, that sort of thing. We've got something that destroys spirits with Gaze of Fury, which blows up an enemy spirit and replaces it with an allied spirit. And it's very obnoxious. So I'm going to do something here, which is I'm going to try to ignore all these enemies and run through to the portal. Which I've succeeded at. It looks like we're not going to lose anybody, so that's also good, because that would have been bad. But just save some time, because this is already gearing up to be a 50-minute episode or something. Don't know if people will like that or not, but here we are. We need to take out Galrath and his villainy, and get Temple of Ages as an outpost and all sorts of stuff. Okay, we have Shadow again, which is fine. An extra 12 limbs, yeah, because there's 8 limbs on the spider, 4 on her. Highline Guard, Uriel. If you need assistance, call on a member of the Line Guard. We're here to serve. Well, I would appreciate it if you would follow me and or potentially buy this hammer. A bunch of peacekeepers dropping out of the sky. Oh yeah, that guy got wrecked. Okay. Wow, those guys are dropping low-level loot, though. Huh. A little annoying, but whatever. All these peacekeepers is kind of obnoxious, too. Judge's Insight is interesting. It gives you armor penetration and holy damage on your attacks. Wow, 22 is a lot of glittering dust. All I'm saying. Dropping a lot of spirit stuff on those guys. Okay. That probably didn't cover quite as many enemies as I would have liked, but whatever. We'll roll with it. Nose being itchy is not fun. Okay, let's see. You. Okay, well, whatever. They were getting kind of wrecked by a bunch of stuff anyway. I find the Avatar of Grunt thing that they're doing to be kind of interesting. Oh, okay, there's a... I'm not going to waste a bunch of 30-second recharge skills on trying to make that guy go down a little touch bit faster. All these friggin' nightmares. So Keswick Peak is not an enormous zone, but we kind of need to meander through it. It's kind of a winding one, as I recall. It's been a while since I've been here, though. As with most things. Yeah, that's actually interesting. I'm just thinking about, like, I bring this skill and it provides a bit of damage, but I'm bringing it because it effectively gains me 2 energy. So it's a bit of an energy management reason, right? And that's just not, for the most part, something that you would consider. Like, you wouldn't bring a subpar damage skill because it helps your energy, because there isn't energy for the most part in Guild Wars 2. And I'm just kind of trying to think through things and just thinking about some of the design and what it enables to create differences in play between the different professions. And obviously they've done a lot of work with regards to unique profession mechanics and that sort of thing, but fundamentally what you run into is, because your skill bars are identical and the way that you're trying to manage stuff remains fairly constant, it makes certain things lose some of the variance, I guess, in kind of the wash, as it were. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to think through. And again, this is based on old information too, so maybe they've changed stuff up. But I'm just thinking about, like, this skill, for example, is one that I've brought with me because when I use it, it makes my team deal significantly more damage because so much of our damage is based on spirits. I have 4, and Elias has, like... not Elias. Prius has 3 damaging spirits. So that's 7 spirits between us, and that creates a lot of additional DPS when every single one of them hits for plus 18 damage. And sort of the result or consequence of, oh my goodness, look at how many friggin' Force Minotaurs there are. Sort of the consequence of this is that this is a skill that does a lot because of the rest of the build. So there's a very build-dependent skill, which I think is really interesting. But, you know, your mileage may vary on what you find interesting. But I personally think that's a really cool thing that they have stuff like that. Or that I'm incentivized to bring this kind of mediocre damage spell because it has some other really big benefit for what I'm trying to do. I don't know, just something I'm thinking about, I guess. And like, this elite skill is a cornerstone of my build. That's something that I really like in this game, is the fact that elite skills are cornerstones of your build. I understand that there's... like, Guild Wars 2 goes for more of a MOBA or Warcraft 3 style ultimate system, which MOBAs owe so much to Warcraft 3. It's pretty ridiculous, but from a design standpoint, you've just got a very different structure. And so, like, you're building around other things. I don't know. I guess I kind of feel like I wish there were more build-arounds in general in Guild Wars 2. And that you kind of structure yourself around doing something a bit more. Again, everything's kind of like DPS plus for roles in that game, and I think that can work, but it has to be done in a way where it's like, why would you want to go for this particular strategy or that particular strategy, if that makes sense? And I feel like a lot of the stuff that could add that nuance isn't there. I don't know. I'm trying to justify my dissatisfaction with the combat system and trying to understand what it is that leads to that dissatisfaction. What could be done differently so I didn't have that dissatisfaction? That sort of thing. And my inventory is full. Yeah, it was full of things like level 7 bucklers. Sorry, I want to take a moment to salvage this seed. I don't care about the troll tusk. So here's the floating wizard's tower in the distance, by the way. What we're going to see is that there's a big hill leading up to it, and Galrath is kind of at the top of the hill. I'm not sure if... because I think Verada shows up here at some point in time as well. We can take a moment to look at our floating wizard's tower friend and fight all of these spined aloes that are popping out of friggin' nowhere. some plant fibers, just straight raw plant fibers. That's really useful. Verada is pretty dangerous. I'm not sure if Galrath has all of that support going on, though. Random collector over there. Cromwell. Brandon Cromwell. Oh, yep. You can see a bunch of Verada stuff over there. Mira Dulnarum. Coming up with names can be quite challenging. Verada's kind of a rogue necromancer. There's a couple of necromancer skills that are named after Verada. There's Verada's Gaze and Verada's Sacrifice. So, and Verada's Aura. So Verada's Aura, all hostile animated undead in the area become bound to you. And it ends after a gigantic pile of time. When it ends, you lose bond with any undead bound to you. This, so if a hostile animated undead has a master, it breaks the bond. If it has no master, you become its master. And then this used to be the premier way that you kept minions alive. So you'd sacrifice some health, and then it'd give your undead allies a bunch of health regen. Let's see. If you have control of 3 or fewer minions, it instantly recharges. But the thing is, it was apparently too good at keeping minions alive, so they just nerfed the ever-living snot out of it. Which is unfortunate, but... I mean, it also makes sense that they nerf minion masters. I have a screenshot, an ancient screenshot, from back when you could actually get, like, huge quantities of minions. It's been a really long time. They added the cap not terribly long ago. This is just not going to be worth hanging on to, most likely. Let's see. Yeah, we just have so much meat cushion here. This is not a dangerous individual. Okay. We're almost done with this particular mission, though, because Galrath should just be up the hill. As you can see, this is very long, though. And frankly, its experience is a little weak compared to how much you have to go through to do it. But, you know, whatever. Is there a... Okay, Shepherd of Verada. Bloodstained Jerkin. But my inventory is full. This is a super low level staff. Ow. Ow. That's a trap. That was somebody who spent a lot of time making a lot of traps. There's Galrath up there. He'll probably be pretty underwhelming compared to everything else. I don't know. But, you know, 50-minute episode, like I was saying. Oh yeah, these bandits are all like super underleveled compared to everything else. They're level 11, so yeah, this is probably going to be pretty underwhelming here. Ha, leather belt. I don't need a leather belt. And there's a good view of the Wizard's Tower, so. Galrath himself has a white mantle skin, as you might notice. Level 20 would be high at this point. I'm just very much so overleveled. Hey, dropped 180 coins. And we completed the Villainy of Galrath. So, I'm going to take a moment to just come over here. Here's the Wizard's Tower. This is visible in the sequel. It's been moved. It's kind of tethered to some floating rocks, which doesn't seem like a very effective tether, if you ask me. But in the sequel, I think it's been moved more this direction. But here's where it is in this game, so that's really cool. I'm going to go ahead and turn this quest in. But first I need to clear out my inventory. Remember, you can support me on my Patreon. And this is just going to be a super duper long episode, so... where am I? Where's my... There's my nice source chest. So I'm just going to clear out my inventory because this is one of those quests that rewards you with really mediocre weapons. So I'm just going to... oh, right. I'm full up on dust. Okay, so I'm just selling dust. Okay, whatever. I think that's enough space. So I feel like it's proper to kind of conclude this with going to LA and turning in this quest. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to end this extremely long episode. And I'm going to take care of my inventory off screen because, frankly, you don't need to see that. Here's Foreman the Crier. Okay. First watch Sergio. I have done it. The people of Carida may finally sleep easy knowing Galrath will never return to do them harm again. Give me your mediocre weapons and your low quantity of experience. Oh. Oh, there's a hard mode version of it. That's worth a lot more experience than 5 platinum. So... yeah. So this is hard mode only. Okay, I will grab the updated one. We will not do that today. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.